Now, I want to ask you, I know there are people out there that keep saying, well, this candidate, Cruz will stop all this, or Rubio will stop all this, or Walker will stop all this, or this Bush will stop all this, or this candidate will stop all of this. You know what I say to all that? Bullshit. Because, isn't that what we said about George W. Bush? I'm just saying. Look, we don't... There isn't... If these guys are really serious about all this, then great. If they're but when they get into office, they better start paring back these federal bureaucracies so less of this stuff happens. Otherwise, I'm going to be on them like white on rice. I know, is that a racist thing to say white on rice? I know rice, white rice is white, the kind you get at the... Now I want Chinese food. I'm hungry and I want Chinese food now. Because I just said white... Well... I've had to cut out the comments on most of the pages on my website because what I was getting was, sometimes I was getting up to 300 comments per day. It's all spam crap. I don't know where this stuff comes from. And yeah, there's, you get, this is another thing that I have a pet peeve about. You get this stuff that tells you, oh yeah, this is free. You use this for free to stop all the spam. I've gone through 3 programs. Free. Only to find out that, if you got to read the small print, oh, well, your free trial period is almost up. Well, you didn't say that this was a trial period. You said it was free. Now, I understand that you have something else that has bells and whistles. I don't want the bells and whistles. If I want the bells and whistles, I'll buy it from you. But I don't want the bells and whistles. I just want, this one little part. Well, that's only free for a week or 10 days or something stupid like that. And so I just said, screw it. I'm just going to shut down the comments because I'm tired of all this, having to deal with all this spam. Does anybody even read that crap and click on it? Well, I guess if it didn't work, they wouldn't be doing it. But I don't even know how it happens and people get a hold of. They must have crawlers or software. I guess you got to buy the software to do that too, huh? Put out spam comments. I mean, wow. Because who's got time to do that every single day? But yeah, and I know that's some of the marketing gurus will tell you to do that. Just I'm telling you, don't. As a marketing professional, I'm telling you, don't ever comment. Don't ever spam anybody, anytime, anywhere for anything. You're going to do yourself some great harm. You're going to get banned from a lot of places. You're going to get blocked and all kinds of other things. And nobody's going to buy anything from you. So don't believe all these gurus that tell you, oh yeah, this type of thing, it's not really spamming. Yeah, it is spamming. Don't do it. Because people just end up getting pissed off and they just end up blocking you. I know I do. And did. Scientific study. This is a Newsmax article. Of course, I already knew this, but it's good to have science backing it up. The scientific study. Conservatives have more self-control than liberals. That's basically the reason why I didn't backhand that one guy. Rod, you just don't understand what racism is then. Because I'm a conservative, so I have self-control. And this is a scientific study that proves me right. Conservatives in the United States have more self-control than liberals, according to the results of a new study. Now, the research results appear on the National Academy of Sciences website, and they prove that right-leaning Americans have more willpower than any other political group. Now, evidence from 3 studies reveals a critical difference in self-control as a function of political ideology, the study abstract reads. Specifically, greater endorsement of political conservatism versus liberalism was associated with greater attention, regulation, and task persistence. Moreover, this relationship is shown to stem from varying beliefs in free will, specifically the association between political ideology and self-control is mediated by differences in the extent to which belief in free will is endorsed, is independent of task performance or motivation, and is reversed when free will is perceived to impede rather than to enhance the self-control. In other words, we know we have the free will to do whatever we want, but should you do whatever the hell you want? Well, conservatives say no. I know you liberals are out there. Yeah, just do whatever makes you feel good. That's your mantra. Do whatever makes you feel good. Yeah, just do whatever makes you feel good. You can do it all night long if you want to. Conservatives say, hell no, that's not the way life really works. Because just because you want to do it doesn't mean it's a good thing to do. So we have a little bit more self-control. And you could say by fiat, we have a higher moral standard. Well, sometimes that kind of stuff gets kind of twisted. I get it. I know. Blah, 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 blah. But in reality, the whole basis behind self-control is morality. Now, think about it for a second. If you believe, let's take an extreme. If you believe murder is wrong, then you're going to control your behavior to such a degree that you're probably most likely not going to want to commit murder. Now, if you believe that you should just do whatever makes you feel good, and if you think that killing a person is going to make you feel good, well, then you're more likely to go out there and murder somebody. Well, that's liberal mindset there. Do whatever makes you feel good. Well, okay. Oh, yeah, I'm going to feel better if I off that guy. I'm sure that kid walked into the South Carolina church thinking, I'm going to feel a hell of a lot better once I kill these people. I'm sure that was going through his mind. There was no self-control there. And if you notice how all these mass shooters, they try to blame and pinpoint on conservatives, and they end up turning out to be liberal Democrats. You'd think they'd learn their lesson by now and stop trying to pin this on conservatives, because it always comes back to bite them in the ass. That's the other thing liberals just do not get. They don't learn from their past mistakes. They keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. So again, no self-control because they have no moral compass and no moral center. If you don't have a moral center and a moral base, then how are you going to refrain from doing something that isn't necessarily right? That's where your restraint comes from. It comes from your moral center. Conservatives have a moral center. They have a core belief system. A lot of times it's rooted in religion, sure, but they still have that core belief system, which then gives them the ability to control their free will. Just because you have free will doesn't mean you should be able to do whatever the hell you please. No, you got too much of a good thing, is not so good. So you have to be able to control your own thought process. And that's based on your own moral center, of which liberals do not have a core moral center because they believe, what's good for me may not be good for you. What's good for you may not be good for other people. No, that's bullshit too. There is right and wrong. There is no gray. And if you have that moral compass and moral center, well, then you're better able to control your urges and your tendencies and your desires. You won't act out on those things. Hey, I think I should be able to smoke pot if I want to. Okay, so you don't think there should be a limit on it? No, man, there's no limit. Whatever makes you feel good. Well, a conservative says, well, even if there is no, you shouldn't just indulge in everything. You should have some sort of control, self-control. Because if people had self-control, more people had self-control, then we wouldn't need government laws trying to control us. Oh, sure, the leftists would still, come up with laws to try to control us, but we wouldn't really need them. And they wouldn't have the mantra, well, we need this law. Well, why? Because the American people are controlling themselves. There is no need for it. Well, we still need it. Well, they want it for control and power. And that's it. Plain and simple. So I thought that was fascinating. Now, according to a Los Angeles Times article, conservatives generally were faster at determining the correct answers to questions about self-control as well. Yeah, of course we were. Finally tonight, this is from the Huffington Post. The White House took a major step forward on Monday to support research into the medical properties of marijuana, lifting a much maligned bureaucratic requirement that had long stifled scientific research. Now, I know people tend to think, well, pot shouldn't be illegal. I'm not here to tell you or determine whether or not pot should be legalized or not. However, I do believe that the research into it should go forward full force because, look, we don't know a lot about this thing. And that's a sad thing. So you can't make laws and legislation based on conjecture. You got to know what this stuff does. And if it has a legitimate usefulness, then we should exploit that legitimate usefulness. If it has no legitimate usefulness, then, what's the big deal? I know some people are saying, no, Rod, we just can't have it. Why? Because you've been told? Well, we don't know enough about it. I know a lot of the stuff that you think you know about pot, there is no scientific basis behind that belief. Believe it or not, I hate to tell you, but there is no scientific basis behind it because nobody's doing the research. Because, hey, we're the biggest medical research country on the planet. And if we're not doing it, other countries really aren't going to be all that interested in it, usually. So, there you go. If we're not looking into pot as being a medical plant or herb, seriously, then most other countries around the world are not going to waste their resources on it either. They just don't have those resources like we do. Well, we have come to an end of the program, but fear not, because we will be back. And I'll be giving you more wonderful wit and wisdom from my conservative brain. Till then, I'm Rod Eccles. This has been the Rod Eccles Show. I'm out.